Hello, fellow mutants. Welcome back to another video. You all are looking great, as always. In this video, I'm going to give my take of what I think was the best element of the '90s trilogy, of the Ninja Turtles trilogy. Now, in April, I had made a video discussing what I think were the weakest links to the '90s trilogy. I will be putting a link to that video in the chat below. So if you guys want to watch it, you guys can. So here are my thoughts on what I think is the best aspect, or the best aspects, as to say, of the '90s trilogy, which I own. So the first film, I'm gonna go off the bat saying the first film I feel like is the best because it was the most, I want to say, mature out of the three Ninja Turtle films that was released in the '90s. It had and I think, to be fair, Secret of the Ooze was a pretty good movie. I both the first Ninja Turtle film and the second Ninja Turtle film had a really good moral in it. The second one being it's pretty much never too late to find out about your past, and in the original film is, what would you your parents are always going to be around. It's nice to have them around, and it's nice to lean on them. Assuming you have good this is also implied if you have what's the word? A good relationship with your parents, because I know not every parent and child has a good relationship, sadly. But assuming that you do, it's great that to lean on your parents whenever possible. It's great whether you have a relationship or not. The thought of leaning on your parents when possible is great. If you need to, but at some point you need to also try to be more self-sufficient. Asking for help from your parents ain't bad, but also you gotta find at least a piece of yourself to be independent. Because unfortunately, in 90%, in most cases, children will outlive parents. There's sadly sometimes when it's the reverse, and that's really sad. But for the most part, it's parents outlive. Children outlive parents. So you gotta discover who you are as a person without your parents per se. And I kind of like how they also tackled that theme. And I feel the first intro film wasn't so afraid of to get tackle the dark and serious subject. Of course, as I say in my what I feel was the downfall of the three films is that I listened to parents who had no idea what the Ninja Turtles were about, because the Ninja Turtles, the original Ninja Turtles, were dark and serious. Sure, they made some lines, but it wasn't as jokey as when we got to the third Ninja Turtle film in the trilogy, or even the more recent Ninja Turtle film by the time of this recording, Mutant Mayhem. Because Mutant Mayhem was I had jokes in it too, but I don't feel the original Ninja Turtle film has many jokes. And the jokes in the first two Ninja Turtle films, more so than the third, I feel for the most part were jokes that will be generational. there's a few jokes that'll be outdated that I don't think like unless like kids today look it up, I don't think kids will get it. It'll be like over their head for the most part. I feel like. So, like I said, I think the best part of the one of the best parts of the '90s trilogy is the first film. Wasn't so afraid of tackling serious subjects. Secret of the Ooze wasn't like it wasn't like afraid of like tackling some subjects either, but it was definitely more goofy than the first one. Another thing that I feel like was the best part of the '90s trilogy, despite what you might think of any of the three movies in the lineup, is the use of practical effects and the turtle costumes, Splinter costume, the Shredder costume, are all actual costumes. Splinter and the turtles were made out of like Jim Henson, I want to say, along with like Toga and Razor. And I heard of something that the reason why Toka and Razor were in the Secret of the Ooze, besides Bebop and Rocksteady, is because the studio had a like I guess this fight with the Ninja rights to bring in Bebop and Rocksteady, which is why we got Toka and Razor, which I think, and correct me if I'm wrong in the chat, I think Secret of the Ooze was Toka and Razor's debut. But I liked it. I would have loved seeing Toka and Razor. I mean, Bebop and Rocksteady for sure, but Toka and Razor I think was pretty cool. So yeah, I think the case that they actually use actual shoots for Master Splinter and the Turtles, besides the CGI that we got in the Michael Bay Turtles film, was spot on. And I'm actually hoping that they'll return to that forum in terms of actually have people in costumes for the Turtles and Splinter, if they're going to do that, for the last Ronin movie that was announced, which I also covered on the channel, which I am fairly excited. It's kind of like a little bit worried that, at least a little bit skeptical about a last Ronin movie, but I'm more so excited than I am skeptical, if that makes sense. If they do it right, if studios doesn't interfere, and they keep whoever the turtle who is the last Ronin is, I think that was in the comics. I mean, I think the last Ronin could easily be the best Ninja Turtle film since the original one that came out in 1990. So, like I said, practical effects, using actual costumes like CGI, and the fact that they didn't like heavily use CGI. I think the most that they use CGI, and correct me if I'm wrong, was in the third Ninja Turtles film with the Time Scepter. I also, this is totally a bias on my end, but the Ninja Rap Dance, which the Ninja Rap Dance was part of the scene where like it's pretty much was the final battle between the pre-battle to the final battle, to say, of the Turtles, the Fleet, Toka, and Razor, and they were in the dance club. So I happened, Vanilla Ice was performing the movie, and he performed the Ninja Rap. That's when the Ninja Rap was born. Pun intended for the movie. What's the word? Most of the budget, I feel like, if I remember hearing correctly, most of the budget was spent on essentially paying Vanilla Ice and him performing in the film. Correct me if I'm wrong in the chat, but that's what I remember hearing. But so that I'm not saying that's the best scene ever, but hell, that's one of the most iconic scenes ever. Hell, even the Mutant Mayhem film had the Ninja Rap song in there for like 5 seconds. Go Ninja, go Ninja, go. Even like, I think the 2012 series even had a little pun to the Ninja Rap. So say what you will about the whole Ninja Rap thing, but it is serious iconic in the Ninja Turtles community. Good or bad, it's iconic. And this is like more so to a compliment towards the first two films in the trilogy. But when they actually had the jokes, I don't feel like in the first two films the jokes were like overbearing. I feel like, and if this is coming from a guy who just said that the Secret of the Ooze was like more slapstick comedic than the original film, but especially the third one. But like the first two films, the comedy landed. I think it was like a good point. All the comedic timing was on point. Is what I'm saying. The third film, like I say, was the most comedic one. I'm not going to like knock it for that exact reason, but the amount of placement jokes that they made for the third film, I feel like it was a bit much. Sure, I like this is friend of mine, and if he's watching, he'll get what I'm talking about. Even if you guys watch the third one, there's this line where I say to one of my childhood friends, saying, "I'm a beautiful princess in disguise." Funny enough, I have my Michelangelo shirt on, but sorry. That I'm a beautiful princess in disguise. Break the spell. Give me a kiss. That is like, for me, outside of the Turtles coming back and the whole reunion scene at the end, the whole break the spell, give me a kiss was the best line ever, and it worked so well, especially with Michelangelo. So I'm really hoping, like, I was really like, I'll give them that. There were like you said, there were some jokes that were well placed, like that joke. But like, I think they made a reference to Greg Getsty. Nobody like I said earlier. Unless it, like the kids nowadays who that is up, that will go past their heads. Unless if the kids know who the Addams Family is, or at least watch the Wednesday show. I feel like that one Addams Family joke will go past their head. Thankfully, I lived in an era where I was born in the late 90s, so I was familiar with the Addams Family movie, Addams Family concept, because of the first two Addams Family the two Addams Family movies with Kristen and Richie. So, which one day I would love to meet, because she's like one of my favorite actresses, and I so love how she came back in Wednesday. But my point is, some of the jokes in the third film, I know this is like what I think is best, but I'll be like, it'd be a crime if I didn't mention that I feel like some of those jokes were like either like outdated, like would be outdated in like years from then, or like some of like there were like a bit too many jokes. I feel like I wish it took itself a tad bit more seriously. The Shredder most menacing in both films. Even though I did like the girl who played April O'Neil in the first film, I also did think that the girl who played April O'Neil in the other two films was a good casting choice for April. I thought that was good. I like the voice acting because there were actual voice actors. I liked how the people in the rubber suits of the Turtles put in time and time to learn martial arts for the movie, which is more practical than the other Ninja Turtle films that we got. Um, we also, I also dig. I think I forget his name, but I think he was Donatello, like the person underneath the suit of Donatello. I think he was. I think that was a turtle. But that actor who played Donatello under the suit, not the voice actor, but under the suit, and correct me if I'm wrong too about the turtle, was also Kino in Secret of the Ooze. I forget his name. But I thought that was cool. I love Kino. I'm not sure if he was a character that was introduced prior to the Ninja Turtle lore before Secret of the Ooze, but I enjoyed it. I do also like how they brought back Casey Jones in the third one after he was absent in the second one. I can only imagine what Casey Jones' role would be in Secret of the Ooze, and maybe one day I will make a theory video of what my theories would be of one, where was Casey? Two, what would he have done that would have added on to the story of Secret of the Ooze? Maybe I would do that time one day. But the practical effects, the acting, the casting choice, the them not leaning so much on CGI and focusing more on practical effects, and the first and second film not so like nervous. I feel like as the third one was of actually let us resonate in serious themes and giving us like very teachable moments in all three films was good. I liked it. If you guys haven't watched the 90s trilogy, I would definitely recommend doing so. Because with the exception of the 2007 Ninja Turtle film, which I think will come very close of being on the same level as the 90s trilogy, the rest of the Ninja Turtles films don't go anywhere near the 90s trilogy. And I'm excluding the Batman vs. the Ninja Turtles because I feel like that's a crossover. But yeah, then I would definitely recommend the 90s trilogy, especially if you guys are wanting to get into like Ninja Turtles and wanting to know what movie to get into. 90s trilogy: Ninja Turtles 1, Secret of the Ooze, Ninja Turtles 3. My recommendation. That trilogy helped mold me into being the Ninja Turtle fan that I am today. And it also helped me, little did I know at the time of me watching those three films and the old 3 series, helped me essentially make the channel, essentially. You know, like, I need to do more Ninja Turtle content. And that's my goal, is to make more Ninja Turtle content on this channel than, like, any other content. But, yeah, Ninja Turtles is pretty much my everything, and I love it. And the 90s trilogy, no matter how I feel about, like, the third one being the weakest one of the 3, is a legend. Highly recommend. That said, what do you fellow mutants think? Well, like, what are you like? Did you guys feel like I left anything out of what was the best of the 90s trilogy? Let me know in the comment section down below. Love y'all. Have a wonderful day. Be kind to one another. The 90s, the first 90s, the first Ninja Turtle film. They also show clips in the 80s. 87 Ninja Turtles film series, and I think the last like 3 seasons. So go check that out. Anyways, that was some fun factoid. Love you all. Have a wonderful day. Be kind to one another. I will talk to your fellow mutants later. And I can't get over how good you guys look. You guys look phenomenal.